So James Averis here. I am with Kai Cutter France, New Zealand fighter. Kai, I see you wearing the infamous Engage t-shirt. Looking good, mate.
Cheers, bro.
You wanna show it to the fans?
Yeah, it's just get the C word out, but yeah, GC Engage.
Made famous by Israel Adesanya after his latest win. Now all you boys are rocking it.
Yeah, Engage has supported the boys since day one, so we've got to show some love.
Absolutely. Now you recently fought in Auckland for the first time in quite a while. I hunted high and low to try to find the fight. I couldn't really find it anywhere. So can you just walk me through what happened? I know you got a rear naked choke, but how did the fight play out?
Yeah, so I was the New Zealand versus China Philip Lam show. It was a 40-year anniversary, so it's been around for a while. We didn't want to announce it too early, just in case our opponent pulled out. I fought a few times in China now, and so we didn't want our opponent to just fizzle out. So we waited till closer to the fight night, and then we announced it. So my guy wasn't too bad, Chinese guy, Chinese fighter. So they're all pretty good at striking. They're all quite wild, and that makes them dangerous because they're unexpected. You know, they'll just swing. So we hadn't taken them lightly. So yeah, fight night came. Everything went to expected. We had a feeling out process at the start. Of course, you want to look for the knockout in front of the hometown, but I wanted to be smart and be more critical. So yeah, eventually got him to the ground with a single leg high crotch, and he ended up giving up his back, and then yeah, got the first round rear naked choke. So I was happy with my performance. Always want the knockout, but we'll take a finish when we can get it.
And you have been quite known for a guy who does get the knockouts. How was it to slip in a rear naked choke and get a sub for the first time in a while?
Yeah, it was good. I was surprised how fast I sunk the choke in. I was expecting him to try scramble out, but yeah, it was in quite tight straight away. So yeah, it was good to get a submission. It's been 8 years since my last submission. But I train my ground just as much as I do striking at City Kickboxing. So everything is leveled up, and yeah, don't be surprised to see more submissions in the future. And
was this fight at Bantamweight? Is that right?
Yeah, so this fight was at Bantamweight. We'll make the cut to fly when we need to, but yeah, my recent fights I've been fighting at Bantam. Just because it's a bit harder to get matchups at that weight, but it doesn't mean I can't make that weight. I don't cut too much weight for Bantam. I walk in really, so I'm open to fight both. I still have power at Bantam. I'm also the bigger fighter at Fly, so either or, whatever we get for the UFC eventually when we get the call up, we'll take it.
And that was your first fight fighting at home in 5 years. You fought a lot in Asia and also in Australia. How awesome was it the week leading up to the fight to be able to stay at home and then get a decent win in front of friends and family?
Oh, it was a proud moment. It's been 5 years since I've slept in my bed on fight week, so I miss that feeling and the comforts of home, eating cooked meals. So that there was no stress leading up to it. It's different though. You can still get reached by all your friends and family, so people asking for tickets and whatnot. But I guess that's expected. They all want to see you fight. So yeah, it was cool to fight back home and for my girlfriend to watch me fight live for the first time. So yeah, it was a good experience, and hopefully I can have more in the future.
And you fought a lot in Asia. You also had a fight in Ryzen in Japan. How have those experiences been fighting throughout Asia?
Yeah, it's been it's definitely made me a better fighter. I feel like all these fights I've had overseas, getting me ready for the big show. You know, that was my 27th pro fight now, 17-7 on a 5-fight win streak. So I've had a few fights. So yeah, it's preparing me for the bigger picture, and when it does happen, I'll definitely make it count.
And at Hex 8, you got a spectacular knockout victory over Rodolfo Marquez, who is a very experienced and game opponent. Do you think that was one of the better wins of your career?
Yeah, definitely. I was coming off two losses before that fight on the Ultimate Fighter against Alexander Pantoja, and then on Risen and on New Year's Eve in Japan. So we were hungry to get the win. It'd been a while, so coming into that fight, we took it on a week's notice. I knew I was going to be the smaller fighter. We took it at a catchweight 63. He's a black belt, like dangerous. He's fought all the top guys in Australia and Southeast Asia, so it was a risky fight, but we felt confident going into it just because we knew I was fit. So in the later rounds, that's when we could catch him. So yeah, when I caught him with that right hand, um, yeah, it was a great feeling in his home, getting the knockout in his hometown and solidifying or taking a vet out and putting it on my record. So it was a big win for my career.
You mentioned being in the Ultimate Fighter. You hear horror stories from fighters about not being able to even read a book or get online, all these sort of things. How did you find the whole experience being locked in the house with a bunch of other trained killers?
It was a good experience. I don't know if I'd do it again. Just because to maintain flyweight, it was quite hard. 6 weeks you have to keep your weight really low, and then being in a house full of 16 other guys, no contact with the outside world, no internet, TV, music, cell phone. So you're isolated, but you have to just take it all in and learn as much as you can while you're there. So it was a great experience meeting all these different people and coaches. I still talk with my coach Henry Cejudo. We're still keep in contact, and eventually I'm going to go train with him in the future. So that was a good thing about the Ultimate Fighter, just making all these connections.
That's awesome, man. When do you think you'll go train with Henry?
Nothing's set yet. We've just been talking, just keeping up to date with each other. But at some time this year, hopefully, yeah, definitely.
He would obviously be able to take your wrestling to an absolute another level, wouldn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely go there just to pick his brain, for his experience, and definitely for that wrestling aspect.
And you got the only knockout victory on that Ultimate Fighter series. You didn't get the call up, which was obviously a lot of people thought you would have because you did do well on the show, and normally guys do get called up. But now you're on a good win streak. What is the latest with the UFC? Have they been in contact since your latest win?
Yeah, right now our gym's it's been getting a lot of limelight just because of Dan, our captain, doing so well. And now with Israel making a statement, and Shane as well, he's also in the UFC. So we've got a few good fighters leading the pathway. So we're close behind. So every time my coach is there, he's talking to the matchmakers, dropping my name as well. So I'm still relevant. I'm still in the conversation. I've got my manager as well in Las Vegas, always pushing my name. So we're definitely we're in talkings now. Nothing's confirmed, but it's going to happen. It's only a matter of time before it's going to happen.
Has it been a little bit frustrating not getting the call up a little bit sooner? I mean, you're clearly obviously going to be happy to see guys like Izzy and Shane get the call up, but when you've been doing so well and they just haven't been calling you up, how has that been mentally to get through it all?
Yeah, last year taught me a lot, just to be patient, and everything will kind of do its course. It's helped me progress in different aspects of my game. I've just been picking up wins, but I've been working on little things that I had holes before that have helped. So I don't see it as a bad thing. How long I've waited, but now we're on a 5-fight win streak, so you see the motivation and the momentum's there. So I see all these different flyweights and bantamweights in the UFC now, and I could definitely compete with all of them. I'm not they're not on a pedestal for me. Like I could beat them on any given day. So I believe I should be there, and I think it's going to happen this year. Or it's definitely going to happen this year, but it's going to happen pretty soon.
Do you think maybe it's a blessing in disguise that you have been able to get some decent experience outside of the UFC rather than being fed to the wolves too young? I mean, you look at a guy like Izzy, he's 28 years old, but now he's come in, he's starting to enter his prime and really make a show of it. Do you think that it ultimately might be beneficial for you to get into the UFC a little bit older?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be turning 25 at the end of this month, so I'm just about to hit the prime of my career. So it's been a blessing in disguise for sure. I'm more mature. I make better decisions, and I've just got a better support crew around me. People that are always pushing me to be the best I can be. With my head coach Eugene Behrman, he's been the reason for all of our success. It's more than just a individual sport. With the team we have right now, the guys that you don't even know about, they're on the cusp as well. So it's been a team effort, and we're all in a good place. And I think this year we haven't lost a fight at our gym, so that speaks volumes, you know. So we're in a good place, and yeah, we're ready to make it count this year.
How cool has it been to see City Kickboxing really get some acknowledgement? You guys have been doing good things for a while, but now some guys are really doing it in the UFC, and people are starting to take notice. Do you think City Kickboxing is going to be one of these gyms that people really start to recognize in the next couple of years with all you guys doing so well?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of our fighters have fought and have trained in different gyms over the world, and it's kind of been a collective pool of different ideas of training, and that's what makes us quite unique. We've taken all the good from other gyms and kind of used it and put it into our own system. So I think that's the kind of mentality we have at our gym. We're always open to new things, but our circle's quite small. So it's been cool having even Alex Volkanovski recognize that we've been doing good things, and he came over and trained with us for his last fight, even though he fought Shane, you know. So that shows a lot that he's willing to jump in our schedule because he knows it's working, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome, man, to come over and train with a guy. And obviously Shane didn't mind. It's all good just for the region, Australia and New Zealand MMA. You know, it's only small, so iron sharpens iron. Yeah, you did train in Thailand for a year. You got the scholarship. But being back in New Zealand, do you think you will be staying here now that the team has grown and is all one there in Auckland?
Yeah, I was living in Thailand for about 4 years. That was a great experience as well. Just learning about yourself, you know, there's such a big team over there that you need to be able to cope on by yourself sometimes, which I remember fighting like every month in a different country, and Dan was with me as well in my corner. So that was pretty cool, just fighting in different countries, picking up all these different experiences and just taking it all in. But now coming back home, there's just there's more science behind our training, and it's just more relevant and more specific, which is what I wanted. And with Eugene having a smaller group, you get more attention. At Tiger Muay Thai, the gym's so big that there's only so many coaches. So sometimes you would feel a bit lost in the schedule just because you're on your own schedule. So coming back home, surrounded by my family as well, for all the support I've been getting from New Zealand, and just being recognized for the big things you've been doing overseas. That's what I've loved about coming back home. But regardless, we're working hard, and even though all the boys have fights, the training doesn't stop. So when all the boys are overseas, you know, 10 to 20 guys are still back home training for their fights. So that makes the environment, that's why we succeed in all these fights, because we train all year round, and it's just the environment we've created. Everyone's held accountable, and you're the odd one out if you turn up late, you know. So that's the environment that we've created.
Sounds like you've got a really good culture there at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
And is it true that you fought on a cruise ship?
Yeah, I fought. It was from Malaysia to Phuket. The cruise ship docked in Phuket, and then we fought that night. So all my teammates from Tiger got to jump on and watch me. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I got like a 12-second knockout, I think. So it was yeah, it was an easy night in the office, but great experience.
So you were docked up. The boat wasn't on sail while you're fighting in the cage.
Yeah, it wasn't moving. It was just docked at the port, and then after the fights, it was on a 2-day transit to the other island, so it just turned into a big party. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, awesome. And in professional MMA, before you really make the big time, it is hard to make a lot of money. What is your current situation? Do you have another job, or are you full-time in MMA at the moment?
So I've been quite lucky. I've had a lot of people that I've just met overseas and while traveling, and they've kind of jumped on board and they've seen that how close I am to making it, and to how disciplined and committed I am to the sport. So I've been lucky to have financial help with some sponsors that I've got on board, so that helps you keep afloat. I do a few PTs as well, just to get by, but I wouldn't be doing all of this if I wasn't close. You know, I'm 100% committed, and I know it's going to work out. It's right there, right in front of me. So there's no point stopping. You know, you got to be all in to get all the rule, or to make it to the big show. So that's what we've been doing.
And when did you start training in martial arts? Is it something you started as a kid or a teenager?
Yeah, so I started jiu-jitsu when I was 10 years old. So I've been in the sport for quite a while. I stopped for 1 or 2 years, but came back to MMA when I was about 15. And then at around 18, I got that scholarship at Tiger Muay Thai. So I've been doing it for quite a while now, yeah.
And are you a fan of the sport, or just a guy who likes to get in there and fight and then not watch it when you're not actually training?
No, I enjoy watching fights. I have certain guys who I like to fight. I like to watch fight. I don't just watch any fight. It's a selected few. The guys that I like to like, if they've got good technique and they're well-rounded, you know, those are guys you want to take note of. Not necessarily just the champs, the guys that are coming up, and you want to try emulate. But I remember from day one watching like Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber, seeing all the lighter weight classes. So those are the guys that I like to fight, because I like their styles, you know.
And in New Zealand these days, who are some names that might not be known who are on their way up at City Kickboxing, like you mentioned before?
So we've got John Vucker. He's fighting next week on Hex. You got BJ Bland fighting for the XFC lightweight title. These are all guys that a few more fight win streaks, and they'll be knocking on the UFC door as well. So we've also got the light heavyweight King of the Ring champ, Carlos Olberg, Brad Riddell, just making his debut on ONE FC on that super fight rule. So it's Muay Thai in a cage. But he's adamant that he wants to make a run in MMA as well. So he's one of the hardest hitting fighters in the world, like at lightweight. So it's a scary dude with small gloves, you know.
Yeah, I saw Brad's recent fight in Melbourne, and yeah, he's sharp, very sharp. Once he makes the transition full time, he's going to be a danger to anybody. But is it right that he just wants to compete in glory before he makes the switch full time?
Yeah, that's what he said as well. He wants to make a name, or make a bigger name, and come into MMA with, like what Izzy did with the kickboxing reputation, you know. So once he makes that full transition, he'll be more than ready, because he trains MMA even when he's got kickboxing fights. He's rolling all the time. So I think that's what makes him. He's just fighting all year. He's training all year round MMA. So.
And so, what do you think's next for you? How long do you wait until, you know, if the UFC takes a month, if they don't call in the next month, are you going to get another fight? What's the game plan here?
For us, we're in a good position to wait now. So every time we fight, there's a big risk. You know, you lose and you're at the back of the line. So there's when my coach has been talking with the matchmaker, it's all good things. It's all about timing now. So there's a card I saw in Singapore in June, and that could be a possibility, just because it's an Asia card, you know. So we're under that Asia market. And saying that, at flyweight, I've had call up short notice in different countries. I was supposed to, I got a call up to fight Tim Eliot in Canada last year. So like the call ups have been happening, but it was a week notice, you know. So it was after my dad's wedding. It was just the wrong timing of things. But being given short notice fights like that, you know, that if they give me a bit more notice, I'll be more than ready to take those fights.
So you were asked to fight Tim Eliot in Canada?
Yeah, it was sometime, not end of last year, I think November last year. We got asked what do I weigh right now. I'd said I was a bit heavier than flyweight, so I wouldn't be. I would have been. I couldn't guarantee I could have made that weight in a week.
Yeah.
And the guy they offered it to, he ended up missing weight, and the whole fight got called off because he missed weight. So that could have been me, you know. So luckily we didn't take that fight, just because we want to make sure that when we do make our shot, we want to make weight and put on a show.
Having a few too many beers at the wedding, you don't want to have to fly all the way to Canada and cut weight, eh?
Well, yeah, it was. Well, yeah, you don't get married too often. Oh, my parents. So yeah, it was just bad timing.
Yeah, that's understandable. Hey, Kai, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Best of luck for the getting signed to the UFC, and we'll chat again soon.
Yes, bro. Thank you. Appreciate it.